Welcome everyone. Happy New Year. So excited to see all you little kins and kinettes and kinsies and kin-os and kin is kin.
Wow.
Happy New Year. So happy to see you. It's been a bit. I'm gonna blame it all on you just because you've been playing a
That's
lot of
fine.
World of WoW and not for the fact that I've been gone for like most of the month of November and December.
I think in general, a lot of folks, we've seen people kind of pulling back a little bit, right? Especially around the holidays. We had December. It's starting to get cold for people and
Truly.
events, especially with where we're at in the meta and how the game has been. I think people are looking forward to some shakeups, right? So we're at that point where when some things start to happen, we're going to see people jumping back in. But you're absolutely correct.
The
A
WoW
couple
boy.
things I want to, I've been living in it. I've been repping it.
Are you
The,
doing?
the,
Wait. Before we actually get too hard
yeah.
into Votan's, are you playing Classic or what are you playing?
Yeah, so I'm playing Season of Discovery, which is like their new version of Classic. And
Wild.
I'm speed running raids and stuff.
Dude,
It's
what a
pretty
time to
fun.
be alive. Who knew in
Yeah.
2024 you'd be playing a World of War version of World of Warcraft you probably played like what 10 years ago or something? I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like whatever, how
Teenage
long.
me could not be more happy trapped inside my body.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, that's awesome. First of all, it's been really nice. We've been messaged quite a bit in the competitive Discord, which I think now is open. I think anyone, if you were in the Leagues of Voting Discord, I believe anyone can view it. I hope so.
One can only
And if
hope.
not, hopefully that is changing soon. But we have had a few people like do some tagging, like what's the next episode? Excited, blah blah blah. So that's really cool. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yep.
The
Love it.
feedback everyone's given has been great. But yeah, it is a funny. We were at dinner the other night with some friends, and they're like, we have to enjoy this shit because in a couple days we will not have any sort of vacation or time off or holiday stuff for a long time. And I never really thought of
Yep.
the end of the year like that. After
Yep.
January 1st, it is like forever until there's the next like relax time. It is just like go starting the year
Oh
off,
yeah.
you know.
hmm
But yeah,
It's like months.
yes,
Like
months,
until
months,
almost June.
truly.
It's like, all right, well, I'll just work straight. Why would you take time off? It's cold. It's
Yeah,
raining.
I know, I
No.
know. Oh my god, it's
But
so cold today. But yes,
But we do have a lot of exciting things coming up. You have LVO, right?
well, LVO. There's a GT in Maryland in February. I think I'm gonna do some really exciting stuff that I'm like honestly like ecstatic about is the old. So there was a big store right outside of New York and New Jersey called Mythic. Well, the Mythicos still exists, but there was one specifically in Mahwah, New Jersey, which is only about 45 minutes from me. They did a lot of GTS. They did a lot of in-store games. Blah 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 blah. Mythico still exists, but that store closed down. Someone now is reopening that store under Rogue State Gaming or something like that. And it's like we're a bunch of like, what is it, like Team Vindica? I think they were called. They played out of, or they were in that area. Now they're all like mostly stat check people, but so that is reopening this Friday. I took the day off. I'm gonna go up, play with like a bunch of people I know from various discords.
Sure.
One of them being my, because now I'm on stat check team for Battle for Salvation, which I'm really excited for in April. So playing
For you.
with yeah, I'm so stoked. It's gonna be really fun.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play with some of those dudes this Friday. So that I'm really excited for. But they are apparently gonna be doing a lot of events, and that is like 45 minutes out my door.
Sure.
Hopefully, like a bunch more GTS, a bunch of RTTs. I'm really excited for that. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
a lot of cool stuff. Hopefully, in the next couple months. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And yet, hell, you had Everwinter that you went to as well, right?
Yeah. So at the end of November, I had a local RTT. Well, I actually had two RTTs in November. We had two gaming clubs in the city that mostly do. One does an RTT every single month. The other does an RTT every other month. So November I had at least one, and then weeks later I had Everwinter, which was like the beginning of December I think it was, which
Yeah.
was a total blast. One of the most fun like tournaments I've ever done. I did well. So actually, let's back up. So the RTT was actually a test for the list I was doing for Everwinter, which was a small, the same thing I've been doing: 5 Sagittars, 20 Hearthguard.
hmm
Oh yeah, I should turn off my notifications. No, I'll do that later. It's fine. It doesn't matter. 'Cause I know it's gonna happen. I always get like a Discord pop up at some point. But
Always.
20 Hearthguard, 2 champs, 1 solo, and then a call and bikes. But the thing I was trying this time was since I expected a million Eldar, I went
Mm.
1x6 bike, 1x3 bike instead of my normal 3x3. I was like, all right, let me just, if I get Eldar, I'll just rush them and just shoot as much Wraith Guard and stuff I have to deal with. Maybe type a Night
Sure.
Spinner if I can, whatever. Didn't play a single Eldar that every
Yep.
winter, but so I tested that list. I went 3-0 at the RTT. It was really fun. I lost by first place by
Nice.
3 points.
Oh no.
I went 3-0 though, so I don't really care. It was fine, but
That's
it
pretty
was really
good.
silly, but it's fine. But so that was great. I was feeling really good, and I go to Everwinter, and GP, to tell you that I was like, I had high hopes for Everwinter. Like I was like, I don't think I'm gonna win. But I was like, I think I could top 10.
Sure.
That was shattered immediately. Everyone in like your corner of the world of the United States is really good.
Yeah, dude, the
Really
Neo
good.
format, I love it. We got some good folks. You get some really great reps and
Dude.
practice in.
A lot of good players, a lot of good teams between like a lot of Death and Glory and like U.S. Army
Yeah.
Esports and like just a bunch of people. Like, dude, Boston and the New England area has some killers. So, yeah, man, I went 3-2. I got 20th place out of like 80 people. And you know what? After playing the games I did and the people I played against and how good everyone was, I feel very proud about that
And you should.
placement, right?
I also want to give a big shout out just while we're talking about it to specifically the TOs and the judges that we have
We're
at the
wonderful.
area. So they are all a incredibly dedicated group of folks in
Yeah.
the Northeast. They're in a Discord chat all the time, going over things, making sure they're double and triple checking. Everybody's basically on call to make sure stuff is going properly. They're really great folks.
Truly wonderful
So,
people. And they do some like
Yeah.
cool events up there. Like there's something where they get like a cabin in the woods and they just play Warhammer for a weekend or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, like some kind of I don't know. It was really, listen, everyone I talked to, everyone was wonderful. I didn't have a single bad interaction.
Love
I didn't have any games where I felt like well, I will say this. I think this is really important. The first day I got shit on. I went 1-2. My first match, Chaos Knights, a 1, which I feel like is favorable for us. Second match was a Votan mirror, which I got absolutely ruined. And my opponent was like, after turn 2, I was like completely dead in the water. He was like, give yourself like 60 points. I don't really care how this points out. And I was like, thank you. He's like, just put me down for hunters. I don't know, give yourself 60. I'll see you later. I was like, okay, cool, dude. Like not in a shitty way, but just like, I'm gonna go like get a drink or something. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, whatever. Thank you, I guess. Because it wouldn't have been that. I would have got less probably because I just got ruined so hard. And then my third match was to say I didn't play any Eldar is hilarious because all I played were Marines. My third match was Iron Storm, Black Templars, which goes heavy on 3 Redemptors, a couple tanks, a bunch of transports, a bunch of Crusaders. Dude, what a strong army. I can't believe I feel like that really should be the one we're seeing a million of outside of like the Vanguard one. Like, God, it was terrible to play against. But yeah, I lost that by a couple points. But at the end of that day, dude, I was feeling pretty bad. I was like pretty like, I was like, man, I thought I was going to come up here like this, like, this city boy out of New York, like come up, like slice pizza in my hand, a little like, olive oil on my forehead and like just smash all these like bumpkins in New England.
Sure.
And, no, I was like, dude, I don't even want to play. I'm getting so, but I like, we went out with some friends, went to dinner that night, and I like had like a very strong talk with myself, like, hey, dude, it's chill. Like, you are having fun. You're playing with plastic toys. You're with all your homies. Everyone has been sweet. Like, it's all good. And you know what? If
you got our dollies.
dude, like, and I was like, if you lose your 2 games tomorrow, that's fine too. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're doing great. You're winning, and in general. So the next day I was reinvigorated. My like attitude was better, and I won my last 2 games.
Love to hear it.
I had my 4th game was against Death Guard, a very hard. Dude was playing really well. I ended up winning fairly. Like I think it was like 96 to like 50 or something. And then my last game was I think someone that I forgot his name. Super sweet dude. Actually, because he plays Votan, and I mentioned the
Todd.
the pod. What?
Todd.
I think it was he bald head,
I love
glasses, or maybe it was bald. He had glasses.
Great guy.
Super sweet dude. Does a lot of. I think he also does like some. I don't know if he's like a
He's
manager
one of
at a
the big
shop or
TOs.
something.
Yeah,
does
he
something.
is one of the big TOs for Games and Friends and
Yes, games. Yeah. Sweet dude, and he was playing.
Yep.
Oh my god, dude, he's playing. It was one of my most miserable games I've ever played. Not because of Todd. It was Vanguard, Centurion spam. Which, if you haven't played against that yet, if any of you haven't played against that yet, like, wow, what a Like what a absolute
Ultra
hard.
Ravens, right?
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
So we're talking Centurion Devastators teleporting. We're talking aggressor bricks with Calgar just like doing a million damage.
Yeah.
Dude,
And if you try and charge them in a lot of positions, they just move out of the way.
they move out like dude, we're talking like infiltrators everywhere, dev wound everywhere. Like, oh my god, dude, I've never had to have like such big brain shit in my life, like trying to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I won by the skin of my teeth. I think I won by 7 points or something. It was like 66 to like 59 or something. I don't even know, dude. Like,
Awesome.
oh my god. But so yeah, I went 3-2, got 20th place, and like there were pros there. There were people that do this. That's all they do, and I was like, I
Oh
feel
yeah.
I'm happy. You know what I mean? But I did, dude. I like walked in there like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm Dami Pastrami, like expecting really to like kick some doors in and be like, yo, you nerds, get out of my way. Nah, I got hammered.
Sure.
I got hammered.
Yeah, a lot of the once we start hitting, and it's very funny because even middle to top tables, you have some crazy competition that we get
Crazy.
at some of these GTs and stuff. So I'm super glad to see that event get out there. I'm hopefully that was like some really great practice for you getting ready for LVO too.
Yeah, I think it was.
So
I'm playing. I'm gonna play the same list, except since then I have gone back to the 1x6 bike is irrelevant. I think
sure.
even because I was like, oh, this is good for Eldar and Space Marines, but even right now it's not good for Space Marines because there's no one's taking 2 wound Space Marines. Everything is 3 or more. Everyone, it's either aggressors or Centurion. So it's like or tanks. So it's like, who cares
Yeah.
if I have 2 wound weapons? Like, and they're gonna armor or
Sure.
contempt, and they're saving on low things anyway. So it's fine. It was really good practice. I'm going back to 1x3 bikes. Bikes aren't killing anything. That's fine. They're scoring. They're great scores.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Awesome.
love them to death.
So yeah, that mostly I'm feeling really good about LVO. I think Everwinter doing how I did has really reset me in like chilling. And I think a
Sure.
lot I think we every once in a while, like if you're trying to be competitive at something, you kind of need like a little humble check sometimes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like in my area, I might be like top dog, not top dog. That's fucking stupid to say. That's so silly. I'm so cheesy. I might be fairly okay in my area in
There
New
you
York
go.
City, but that doesn't mean I think this is also a thing. I live in New York City, so everything here is like the best of the best, but not everything. Like some
It's a
people,
good reminder to never be complacent, right?
yes,
So you
I
don't
got
want to
comfy.
be, yeah, you got too comfortable.
Yes, I'm the
It's
only.
very
Also, I'm the
funny.
only Votan player. This is hilarious to say it loud. I think there's 2 other people that play Votan, and their armies aren't painted. So like, I'm really the only competitive Votan player in New York City, which is nuts. So everyone I
Sure.
play against, the only time they're playing against Votan or like practicing or whatever is me. So like, I'm used
Hmm,
to people not knowing what to do against me, not knowing how to
sure.
deal with 5 Scout 6, 3 Scout 9, insane fast, like heavy hitting. So, but I go to Everwinter, and everyone's like, oh yeah, Votan's it's like my third army, or someone's like, oh, like or I play against Votan every week. It's like, oh my god, like I just wasn't ready for that, and that is definitely where the complacency came in because I was used to just
So
you know
that note specifically that you made, right? The idea of it being their like second or third army, that's a thing that when you start getting to these larger events, let's say GTs, you're going to majors, you're going to LVO, things like that. A thing that oftentimes a lot of newer players forget is that most people at a high level, they're juggling
yeah
many armies.
yeah
So it's possible that not only do they know the army that they're playing, they probably know yours because they might be playing that too.
dude they did, man, they did. Like the third person I played against, the Ironstorm player, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, one of my main homies is Votan. We play like every other week or something. I was like, oh damn, okay. So yeah, like that is definitely something that I had to. That was a good reality check too. But
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do feel very confident about LVO because LVO is one of those things where, so at Everwinter there was 75 to 80 players, a
Yep.
lot of them very good. LVO is 1,000 players.
Yes.
The ratio for good to bad is a lot different. And I
Yep.
say that not disparagingly. Like it
For
is
sure.
just a lot of people, and most time you're not gonna be playing against the Harpsters or something. You're gonna be playing against like other people like us, and that's a more normal game.
And for a lot of folks, LVO is kind of like the mecca of comp 40K, right?
Yes.
So you'll have a lot of people that they're just going out there on the pilgrimage. Guys are going out, they're in costumes the whole time. They're just there to be like, "Hey, I'm showing up. I'm going to get 11 a.m. beer drunk in Vegas and we're going to make sure we can talk about some sick soldiers and I'm going to give away dice." to
Dude, that
folks
is
all the time.
so funny. Like I'm tearing in that. Like it is the poke. You're absolutely right because that's what last year was. Like last year there was a dude next to me that was and like maybe this is sad. No way. This dude was hammered in his first game
Yeah,
on Saturday. He's like he was just going. He like this is
yeah,
just you know what I mean. Like he's away from the fam. He's just playing. He's having a good time. He probably lost $1,000 of blackjack last night. He's living. You know.
yeah. You're showing up. You
Oh
want to see Reese Robbins. You want to hear his voice that sounds like he ate a bunch of nails and smoked every cigarette on the planet. You want to see what the prizes are. You want to see the cool vendors. It's
oh.
not always
Thank you.
just about winning because statistically, like 20 people are going to make any level of payout in that
Yes.
room. Everyone else, you're there for the vibes.
I do
You're
really
having
when people
a
ask
great
me when because I tell them like, oh, like I'm going to tournament, I do this. And it's like, do you win anything? And I'm like, I don't know, some clout, I guess, because I'm never gonna win any money. That's fine.
It's the thing that I don't talk about too often, but a lot of the local shops when we go, half the time if I win anything for my placings, if I get best painted or anything, I pick like the youngest kid that's there
Yeah,
at the store. I'm like, just give it to them. I
yeah,
don't care.
that's very
Just hey,
sweet.
just keep coming back.
Yeah,
Please keep playing the game instead.
for,
For a lot of us, and it's a sentiment that I see a lot, and it's kind of the polar opposite of other competitive games like Magic the Gathering that I've played before, where in Magic the Gathering you want to win that duel land,
yes,
right? You
yeah,
want to get this, you want to get that payout. In 40K, we want that 3D printed trophy worth 32 cents.
yeah,
I want
yes,
that little placard that I'm going to spend more money on a frame to put it on my little dad wall to be like, did you know I came in third at the fall GT? We want the glory.
yes. It's very much
So,
clout. But like, that's a crazy. You know, I've done a lot of competitive silly shit between like Magic or video game stuff, like esports. Like Warhammer is the least
sweaty.
well it's sweaty in a different way because those things are sweaty toxic like
Yeah.
magic is sweaty everyone is very sweaty but they're also fucking oh god like I did not enjoy that time but
Yeah,
like
it's something.
warhammer is sweaty but it's like still fun we're all having a silly time like we all recognize that this is very silly in a great
It
way
is one of the most welcoming
yeah
communities.
yeah
So it's in general, it's really great.
I'm still
So
just
in
laughing. I'm just still laughing at the idea of how because you're absolutely right, and it is the first night at LVO for last year. Me and my buddy got in, we got settled that night. We went down, got some food. We were like, oh, let's play some blackjack, you know. And we sat down, and everyone at the table was there for Warhammer because it's at the Rio in Vegas. Like no one is going to the Rio that far off strip for anything but like something like this. And everyone next to us was playing Warhammer or was there for Warhammer, and the dude to my right lost $1,500 in a single hand. Not even like he was there for a while. He was just kept splitting and doubling and he lost it. Like he didn't get it. And then he looked down and looked at us and goes, "Well, I'm done," and walked out, just like I'm done and just beelined out. And I was like, "Yo, like God." Like that was my first time at a major, super major, and I was like, "This is exactly what I would have imagined," you know.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
So, you know, last year I went 3-2-1, which is funny. I had a draw. This year, I'm hoping to at least do the same, if not 4-2. I would feel very happy about that. But I do feel very good. I've gotten so much practice in, dude. Like,
Yeah.
probably too much. Like, I'm surprised Mallory hasn't yelled at me, to be honest, about how much time I spent playing fucking
Sure.
Warhammer. But you know, we don't have kids, so I have that little leg up. I don't have to worry
That's fair.
about that
Sure.
stuff. We have our cats. That's about it.
Well,
But the only thing I'm actually worried about when I go, I don't know if you've played against it yet, but the new Necrons is,
I haven't.
oh my God, it's actually very difficult. The Canoptic Court specifically, because
It's funny because one of my buddies he's been one of the longest Necron fans I've ever known, and
Well,
he tells me
don't blame
all the time how excited he is for the new stuff. And all I know is that the last time I checked in with him, he was building something like 18 wraiths.
yes,
He just
Wraith
needed-
spam
so
is real, dude.
Tell me all about it.
I will because I just got hammered by it. But well, I'll tell you about it, and then I'll tell you post playing it and how Danny Porter, everyone, we talk about him all the time. He's
Oh,
all
we
about-
love him.
just what a fountain of information.
So
So
it's just a huge brain.
a million rates that have Feel No Pains, Invulns. They have 4 wounds. So they have a base save of 3, 4 Invuln, and then they have Feel No Pains. The Feel No Pains comes specifically from the Crypt Tech attached to them, which Epic Challenge exists, and that was Danny's piece of information. Like you,
Oh, and those can stand up, right?
oh, and they can revive.
Oh,
Yeah,
golly.
the revive mechanic isn't as good as it was. Thank God, it wasn't after every activation. I think it is phase per phase now, which is wonderful. And it's not. It's just not as spammy. Thank God, dude, because that was terrible. But with Blast, it didn't really matter because you could wipe that shit out. But they're so tanky. And then you have the Immortal Teslas, which natively do sustain 2. So like, and then you can give them dev wounds for 2 CP, or you can do the Lieutenant free CP deal. So you could technically have both bricks do sustain 2 dev wounds. We're talking more shots than Hearthguard with sustain 2. We're talking native sustain 2. Not even like Hearthguard had to pay for it. They have dev wound, but you have to pay for it. Whereas Immortal Tesla have sustain hits, we have to pay for the dev wound, but you could do it for free at least. So you're not killing the rates. Mortals die like a stiff wind, but by the time they're close enough to you, if you haven't engaged that, they're doing the million dev wounds. Like they took out a Hearthguard break like it was nothing, just because so much dev wound.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice. One of the few things I feel like
the joys of our 2-up save in 2 wounds.
Yeah, against things that don't care. Yeah.
Sure.
But hey, they're Terminators, everyone. They should be priced the same, right? They should be probably 35 point, 40 points a model. Why not? You know, why not make them that? Everyone loves to say the Terminators. But yeah, so I couldn't kill the race to save my life, and I just got outscored. And then afterwards, I asked Danny, like, hey, have you played against this? They're terrible. He said he hasn't, but he's the same thing. He's like, tell me about him. And Epic Challenge, killing the Crypt Tech, getting rid of. So like what, and like a strategy you could do, because a very fun thing to remember with attached units, a leader attached to a unit, if you go in and you kill the leader, the unit will still have the leader's abilities because it's all happening in that same activation, right? But so what you could do is, let's say you have a solo champ or solo Uthar, whatever, however you're building that out. You run that in first to the unit, pop Epic Challenge. Well, you run that, you charge both. You charge the solo character, you charge, your Hearthguard or your Berserks if you're running them, whatever you're doing melee with. You activate first with a solo character, Epic Challenge, try to kill the Crypt Tech. Crypt Tech is dead. Hopefully there's some other wounds happening. Hopefully you kill some wraiths too. This is all like best case scenario, mind you, because it never goes as well. That
Magic Christmas Land.
What'd you say?
Magical Christmas Land.
Yes, exactly. That activation ends, but now when you go into your second activation, hopefully it's a Hearthguard the Berserks, that Feel No Pain is gone. They still have a great save, but by then hopefully the volume enough of the weight of attacks that you have coming will get past the invuln. Because AP2 brings brings the rates up to a 5-up save, but they'll just use their 4-up invuln at that point. But that is just a lot of dice. At 4 wounds, hopefully you should be folding them, right?
Yeah. It's a good little tech for people to keep in their back pocket.
Yes,
right?
and that's really important. And also you should remember the same thing works on our end. Our -1 to wound on our Hearthguard only exists when we have a leader involved. So you have to be careful about. It's very important to know when you should have your leaders in the front or the back of your unit. If you are going against an army that has a lot of fight first or precision or something like that, specifically precision, fight first won't matter because they don't have to be visible, but visibility matters for precision. So if you're going against a world leaders with like Master of Executions, you know that they're going to be coming at you turn 1, and you have a leader out, whether it be, Hearthguard with a champ or a call, or you have a whatever, it doesn't matter what.
Sure.
Try to position that behind a ruined or hide it, because if they charge in at you, it doesn't matter they have fight first precision. They still have to physically see your character for precision to proc. So important stuff for both on the offense and the defense. And so that was just a conversation about how to maybe play against that. But even so though, dude, like nearly the whole army has a 4-up. Nearly all the army has invuln, either from spiders giving it to vehicles or Feel No Pains, either spiders giving it to vehicles or the Crypt Techs giving it to the wraiths. The mortals don't have a Feel No Pain, luckily, but they also have now every stratagem on their sun. They also have a -1 AP ability. They have their dev wound ability. They have a runaway ability if you move next to them. So I think actually Necrons are where we're going to start seeing the Codex creep happen for this edition.
Yeah, I'm excited because I have an event. One of my first events again, because I've taken a little bit of a break, but I'm going back at the end of this month, so I'll be excited to see
nice.
if any of that comes out, what else is playing out there. Now, in the time that I've been out, besides Necron's coming up with a vengeance, we've had a few other codex releases. Has anything else kind of shown up? Have we
I
seen
mean,
anything out
not
of AdMech?
AdMech. No, I feel like
Yeah.
it does exist, but like the only people that are playing that are like hardcore AdMech players. Like you're not going to see it like people run to it. Like I think you would have
Are
with
you telling me Mr. Stiltman Sniper, it hasn't
Bad.
taken the world by storm?
Don't forget too, AdMech is one of the most expensive codexes. So what's good right now, or so it seems from what I've seen, I haven't seen much of it, but it seems what's good right
Sure.
now is both Breacher and Chicken Spam, which are
Mm.
both very expensive kits.
Like $60 for an
Dude,
Iron Strider, and you need like 9 of them
it is
plus?
like truly that's insane. Like that's like really whack. So I
Yeah.
would be really upset. Well, I mean, I assume most hardcore AdMech players probably already have this stuff anyway.
Oh, that's fair.
But yeah,
Still, feels bad.
it feels bad. It feels bad. It's not a good feeling. It's not a nice feeling.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen AdMech, but yeah, dude, oh my God, Space Marines are with a vengeance between Ironstorm and Vanguard, both very strong. And that's you know what, actually, this is a cool thing to say because it doesn't exist too much. There are, between both those attachments that have heavy play, there are multiple ways to go about playing them. You have
Yeah.
the Blood Angels with the Libertarian Dreadnought, the Librarian Dreadnought.
See,
That
I
could,
don't have a lot of local Blood Angels players,
Good.
so I'm kind of out of the loop on them.
So it's
They're
the same playstyle as Vanguard because the Librarian
okay.
Dreadnought can transport things, but it's using Ironstorm instead of Vanguard.
Yeah, it teleports things around, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's pretty good.
or it's Ironstorm with the Black Templars play, and that has multiple play, either heavy melee or heavy shooting. Both
They have
suck.
so many Templar players locally, and that's the thing we see a lot, and they're big on dreadnoughts.
Yes, the Dreadnought spam is harsh, dude. -1 damage against our stuff sucks.
Yep.
Sucks.
My buddy Tom, it's what he uses. He brings he brings as many dreadnoughts as he can, and then he specifically runs a 10-man Terminator brick. But he brings
The only person doing it.
yeah, he brings a Terminator Ancient with Tannhauser's bones on it. So that whole unit ends up having +1 OC and -1 to the AP on it. It's basically an unkillable brick. The best thing you can do is ignore it.
Yeah.
But with devout push and it constantly moving and stuff,
Yes.
it's once it's touching you, it's pretty brutal. He's had great success with it.
Yeah, the dude I played another local named Kyle.
Mm.
And that's who I played my third match, and he had the triple redemptor. Dude, this list was harsh, man. Triple redemptor, 2 whirlwinds with the tech marine, which you don't know, it gives the whirlwinds lethal hits.
Yes.
There was obviously Inceptors because you have to take Inceptors. The Gladiator Reaper, which just like
They're so good.
crazy high AP, and then yeah, 6 no, 4 Crusader squads. It was hard. It was hard to play. I lost that pretty good. I think in hindsight, I know what to do better against it because I haven't played. I played one Ironstorm game I think before that, and that's the hard thing is there's multiple ways to play it. Because the
Absolutely.
Ironstorm game I played before that was Blood Angels, so I've only played it twice. One Blood Angels, one Black Templar. So like I didn't even have good practice against that. But and then yeah, dude, Vanguard is just intense, dude. Like
So good. It's one of those things where if your opponent is really cerebral about what they're doing, if they are of a Siegler level tactical mind, it almost feels like there's little you can do. And it happens
I don't
a
know if that
lot
was a compliment or insult. I think it might be both.
No, yeah, I think it's I think you can take it either way.
Yeah.
But in general, I think there are things we saw it a lot with like John Lennon in some of his games that he was playing. If you are in a position where you're able to really play with your opponent and make some strong choices, you end up being able to really outplay them.
Well,
with
that's the
things that
thing.
you can
It's
do.
not meant for people that want to sit back and shoot or just yeet and charge. It is a lot of big brain plays that requires a lot of setting up, and quite frankly, I think it's one of the hardest outside of like Thousand Suns. I think it's one of the hardest like army lists to play right now.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where if a couple things fall apart,
They don't have a ton, right?
no,
They have a couple big anvil units, but the
Yes.
amount of utility they have with those
Yes.
is really high.
Yes. So I feel like that's what I've seen in the last like month or so has been Necron, Space Marines. I do feel like I haven't seen many Eldar, but again, I'm going to LVO, so it's like 1,000 people. I'll see everything, right? Which is actually what the good thing is, because I will hopefully see armies that are bad, and I could easily, I could play around that. It's not just all like the hard, sweaty, like 18 Wraith Canoptic lists or Vanguard Center, so that's
Oh
what'll
yeah.
be, I think. And that is not just because I want to win, but it's cool to see people just playing whatever they want to play, even though they're trying to
Sure.
do well. They're still just playing what they want. Like last year,
You know,
dude.
and
Yeah, good.
no, I was just to say, so even then, speaking of, the Marines are doing well. Marines are super popular. You ended up seeing even more than you expected because it's always Marines. One of our next codex is coming out is Codex Dark Angels, right? And we just got a
Oh,
huge
true. Yeah,
teaser on some of the new stuff they have coming out,
yeah.
which also just, I got to give them credit. The new sculpts look incredible.
They do look incredible. Well, do you think it's because they actually look better the way that they design them, or is it just because we've seen it's been so long? Like the
I
dark Terminators are
am
like old, right? At this point, right?
I'm gonna make a bunch of 40-year-olds really
I
mad, but
can't wait. I love it.
I love Primaris Marines, and I think they are just better than like normal Marines were in every way.
Yes,
The
one
scale is
hundred
incredible.
percent.
The improvement to the sculpts with the new machining they have, it's not even fair. Take every old plastic Marine pre-Primaris, melt them down into sprue, and make new kick-ass Primaris Marines.
Dude, one
I'm
thousand percent,
sorry you collected it. Get new stuff. It's time.
1,000%.
It's so good. All the new if you thought you hated Terminators before, you're gonna hate them even more now when they're twice as big and looking twice as thick
Yeah,
on the
two
table.
C's
I
thick.
can't wait.
Yeah. 100,
Oh,
my friend loves to talk about how better older comics art is. It's the same premise. Like, no, it's not. I don't care. Newer stuff looks better. That is just more. We're updating technology and design. It looks better. Like, I'm sorry. Hundred
no,
percent,
I get
hundred
it.
percent agree, dude. 100%
This
agree.
is one of those scenarios where I think it's really good. Now there's I will and I have to give him credit. There's one thing that I do simp for the older stuff,
Oh, wait
and
on.
that's any of the Juan Hidalgo demon sculpts. Those are just
Oh, I'm not
if
even
you
like the
oh
older. Like
he
I don't even know which ones those are.
yeah, here, hold on. I might be even saying his name wrong. I gotta pull it up here. Yeah, it's Juan Hidalgo. I'm pretty sure. No, I think I'm saying this wrong. They were the second version of Pink Horrors.
Oh, cool.
They weren't the first ones. So there were original metal ones, which are the ones that had the big yucky hands. But if I send you this picture here, and maybe we can throw up a little snapshot of that somewhere so people can see it after. But let me get into our
Was this person
PM here.
also a painter?
That's why I think I might be getting it wrong. No, I'm thinking of Juan Diaz. Juan Diaz.
Well, those are cool.
So yeah, he just
Yeah, those are
his
cool.
demon sculpts were so good.
Well, hilariously enough, Juan Hidalgo is in Warhammer. This person is a painter, and like, wow, what an amazing painter.
That's probably why I think of him. I follow too many painters for my own good on Instagram.
Oh yeah, the old metal demonettes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, these
dude.
are cool. Yeah, these are
Yeah,
really
they're
cool.
great.
Yeah, the thing is, the older Marines don't look real. Like, they look like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're absolutely right. They're
Some of them
whack.
are timeless. Some of them are good, but God, you can't look at these new Dark Angels and go anything other than yeah. I mean that's
Yeah,
incredible.
for
They're
sure.
so good.
The only cooler
So
ones I think that might exist from the older versions, and only because they're technically a little bit newer, are like Forge World stuff, like Horus Her. I think Horus Heresy
mm,
Marines do look kind of cool, like
they're great,
that
and
more
they have an improved
irony
scale,
looking.
right? So they
Yeah,
are a little bit bigger.
yeah.
So
Um,
it helps.
yeah, but so I'm curious though if Dark Angels will make a big splash unless you want to play Dark Angels, because the Terminators are so expensive compared to being able to
Yeah.
spam Inceptors, spam Redemptors, spam like dude Crusader squads. Like dude, all those Crusader squads have plasma, they have good melee, like they're good. It's crazy, dude. It's nuts.
Absolutely. They're so
Um,
good.
yeah, I'd be curious of that. One of our locals, he's really great. He is a diehard Dark Angels fan. We played a practice game the other day, like a very slow,
Nice.
like conversational practice game, more so than just
Yep.
like a sweaty one where it was like, should I do this? Because I'm trying to maximize my points. That's what I found out now, that I need more actually like play into is maximizing points. I
Hmm.
win the majority of my games, but I don't always score higher than
You got to
85.
win more. I get
Exactly.
it.
So we had that, and he played. It was 2x10 Darkwing, um, I think some other gladiator of some kind. Like, dude, he had like 5 units on the board.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
But I was able to handicap enough things around his Terminators that he couldn't score, and so yeah, it
Sure.
was like who cared that he had Terminators in the middle? Like he tanked, like the middle was his.
I'll
Like,
be very, very curious to see what their codex brings them because I think it's one of the ones that has a lot of potential because
yeah,
Dark Angels, they have not only do they have the really slow and beefy Terminators that hit really hard, you have the Lion that has the potential to be truly terrifying. And we thought he was going to have a little bit more pressure in the meta than he ended up having. At least I did.
yeah,
And not only that, but they have the bikes that the bikes have the potential to be really good, especially if they're getting any advance and charge options, any bonuses on the charge, et cetera, et cetera. And then not only that, but they also have the option to occasionally get some air superiority in there.
true, yeah,
And
fair,
we've seen historically throughout Warhammer 40K, planes exist in exclusively two modes. They're either absolute poopy garbage and you're never taking them off your shelf for a full edition, or they're the most
yeah.
insane
It's like
garbage
this is
you've
the
ever
spectrum that
seen.
exists. It's one or the other. There's no
They
middle
were
point.
Planes were so overpowered in seventh, they had to
Yeah,
create an entire game that you used only planes with as a supplement.
truly, 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 truly.
So it's just there's a lot of potential there. I think it's something to keep an eye on.
Well, I think in
Um,
terms of Primarchs,
mm,
outside of Angron and maybe Magnus, the other Primarchs just are too expensive for what you get out of them in terms of like,
angry, angry Ronald hits that perfect
dude, it's great.
Primarch sweet spot. Not only in just his normal cost and everything he's doing, but the fact that he can come back. See, I was
I
waiting until a little bit later,
to call
but
me out.
no, not to call you out, but
Wait, are we both doing world eaters right now?
I have some things that I'm working on, and
Are we
I
both doing world eaters right now?
I might be working on World Eaters.
Wait, are we both doing this right now?
Are we both doing World Eaters right now? Do we have these exalted 8-bound? Folks,
Wait, are
this
you
is
joking?
entirely unplanned. We didn't talk about this at all.
I'm like flabbergasted. I literally just bought all of the same things that you have. Like
Yeah,
that
I
is
have I
like
have the whole thing.
like
So
literally, I just finished doing all my berserks last night. Like this is berserkers, not
haven't
berserks.
started building them yet. I'm gonna hopefully start either later this week or next week. But I went ahead. The Christmas box for World Eaters was
So good,
incredible.
so good. You have like
Probably,
nearly the whole army right there. Like you're like
yeah,
you need like
the
four more things.
dude, it's amazing. The only boxes in history that I can think of that were better than that box was the original Chaos Knight box from like 2 years ago, where you got two knights in a box for like the cost of one. The original Tau Start Collecting box, where you got three crisis suits and a bunch of and like an ethereal and like 30 fire warriors or something. It was in a crazy box for like $80.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah. The
But
exalted red angel between the 6 8 bound, the berserkers, the angry. This is I'm still like flabbergasted that we both that this
yes.
like okay. That I
And
actually
it's not an expensive army to get into
no.
because all you have to do, and I'm sure we've both done the same math, but if you want to build a competitive World Leaders list right now, all you do is you got that one Christmas box, you get their combat patrol, and then you buy like two more boxes of Exalted 8-bound and two rhinos.
You're good.
Congrats.
You're great.
That's the list.
Yes.
You built the
Yes.
whole thing with GW
Yeah.
boxes for like $400.
And a little
tops.
tip too,
Oh,
if
army?
you get Lord of Makata's Juggo Lord, you can he has extra bits in him. So my friend made his master of executions from the extra bit. It's crazy, dude. Speaking of, I'm pretty proud of this. I converted a master of executions from the Horus Heresy Praetor Power Axe.
Praetor for the big axe.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so good.
No, there's no heads on any of my guys yet because I bought all these cool
Sure.
flaming skulls that I'm going to use
Yeah.
as their heads. I'm really
Oh,
excited. This is so funny. It's so funny.
it's so funny because I started and I had gotten 2 of the new like commemorative
Oh yeah,
Einherjar champions that I was going to build, and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And then that box came out,
yeah.
and then the holidays happened. And I got done buying the world for my kids, and I was like, all right, well, Daddy needs something now.
Daddy needs something for
And
himself. Give me a
it's
present.
like I can't say no to this box. So it's
Yeah.
funny because I was actually in the middle of a GT, and I looked at my opponent, and I had an alarm and my phone started going off, and I said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I have to like stop for a few minutes and get in queue to buy a box."
Dude, that's so funny.
Because the GW Christmas sale just started, and he was like, "Oh, actually, I have to do the same thing."
Well,
So we both just stopped.
the thing
Good.
that prompted it for me, which is so funny, was after the first day at Everwinter, I realized I was like way too aggressive. Like, I lost my 2 games that day because I was like way too aggressive. And afterwards, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I think after LVO, I'm gonna take like the shortest break from Votan for a minute and just try to play another army. And I was like, what's like a really aggressive fast army right now? And I was like, I guess I could play Blood Angels, or maybe I could play the Drukari. Like, I don't know. And I was like, oh, I should play the one that's known for being the best fast aggressive. And then yeah,
Brother, we literally had the exact line of thinking
dude,
on the.
I'm like,
just
I'm
wanted.
still can't get over this. This is so funny.
Oh yeah, it's very funny because for a lot of things, I enjoy that Votan gives me bullet supremacy.
Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna have the option to I can shoot your pants off,
Yes.
and I don't feel bad for playing Tau that shoots too hard.
Too hard,
Votan
yeah.
at least are engaging in multiple formats,
And we have shorter
then-
range. Like the tower shooting you off the board half the board away, right?
It gives people feels bads. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, Votan can do that too when they're too overtuned. But world leaders are interesting in that you are just bringing combat to the table.
Yeah.
And you can make your opponent can feel bad from that too. But it's an interesting thing where I feel like most people, when people have an angry Ronald charging into them and he starts one-shotting their tanks,
Yeah.
it's still funny for everyone around
Right.
because you're like, oh, how far does that guy move? 32 inches, turn
Yeah.
1. And they're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah,
so
no, he's
silly.
coming for you.
It's so silly. I'm so excited to play. I'm so excited that we're both. Oh my god. It's what is
Yeah, like I
What a time to
said,
get
folk,
off.
entirely unplanned. I told them that I had props ready, and we didn't talk about it. But yeah, I have a
Oh, that was
whole-
your props?
Those are my
Dude.
props. Yeah, I had a whole
I'm
World
dying.
Leaders army sitting next to me, just waiting for me to start building.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I built our boy, and instead of his normal base, I got I had that like Emerald 6 Warhammer Plus assassin, and I cut it in half.
Hold on. You're gonna laugh
I'm so
because
excited.
I have the same bits.
Dude, his foot. So if you cut the statue's head off and you lay it down sideways, his foot perfectly. It's like the perfect height for him to be stomping on it. And then I just like spammed a whole bunch of skulls onto the
great.
base as you do, right? I don't know.
I'm actually so Howard. We're gonna have a brief World Leader intermission in the middle.
Yeah,
of
this is not the Red
show.
Path podcast, everyone. Sorry.
This is talking about. But how do you intend to paint them?
Oh, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So I had this. So I bought all this really. So I'm really big into metallic paints. Almost everything I have is metallic. It's kind of like silly. That's like kind of my thing.
Dude, enjoy it.
But I had this really cool like deep burgundy metallic. Like
Love it.
it's like super metal. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that for their armor. I'm gonna do some brass. And
Yeah.
then all of their skin, I'm doing like albino, like kind of like a harsh, like white with like red undertones.
Yeah.
And then red eyes. And then I got these flaming skulls. I got
Nice.
all these like really cool. Sorry, I cut my thumb last night peeling a potato, so it's like weird to grab things.
Sorry, you could have told us it was sprue.
No, I was peeling potatoes. I was hungry. We're probably not gonna see it. I got these like really cool flaming skulls. So everyone's gonna have a flaming skull except for Ingron, obviously.
Love that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like getting weird with my shit, dude. You know what I mean?
See, you think that's you getting weird.
I know your shit's so good.
I've
So
been talking for a little while now, so I've talked about it before, but I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm obsessed with painting white. So
you love it.
mine are all going to be white, but I have insisted, and I promised some of my locals, these are going to be my world eaters, and they're all going to be
Stop.
white and pink. They're gonna be white and bright pink, but I'm gonna do it like a grim dark pink.
Sure.
So it's gonna look a little washed out, but then their bases are just gonna be covered in flowers.
It's
And
funny.
Angry Wanold is coming for you. It's gonna be the funniest thing. Everyone's gonna be so furious when a flower covered bright pink Angron is blitzing across the table.
I'm
And
not
I
gonna be able to find the images. So one of my buddies, his name is Ron, hilariously enough.
love it.
In ninth, he was like one of the top World Leaders players. He's been. I've only ever known him really to play World Leader. Like he is like too into World Leader. Like every year when Red Path, which is the World Leaders like Discord / podcast, whenever they go to LVO, he goes to them and they like meet up and do their live episodes. It's really cool. He's really good. But his World Leaders, I'm not gonna find a picture. His are pink, but not like metal pink. They're just pink and then they're glitter everywhere.
Yeah.
And this man like will go to like events and just smash everyone with glitter pink
I'm
leaders.
shamelessly inspired by two people. And the first one is Alex Fennell. If you've ever seen him before, he's incredible. He won the Sportsmanship Award at LVO a few years ago. He won the first LVO. He's an amazing player. But his Necrons are bright pink. To just show that he's not taking the game too seriously, the detail on them, he has like children's flower stickers put on them. So it's very funny.
Like you can't be sweaty against that, right?
No, you can't.
Because if you lose, then you're fucking.
Yeah, it's good. He's always a great sport. But the other guy that got me really into it was Anthony Vanilla.
Oh yeah,
I'm
playing with him Friday.
Did you?
Oh, I'm playing with him. He's local. He's outside New York, and he's gonna be playing at Rogue State a lot. So I'm gonna be meeting up on Friday playing with him.
Dude, I watched him play at a tournament in California, and it.
Oh yeah, the Cali Cup. That's also dude.
It was so good, and it seemed like he was having so much fun that I just opened my wallet and gave Games Workshop $500, and I was like, all right, here you go. Let's do it.
This is so fucking funny. It's so funny because it's the same thing. I watched all his Cali Cup videos of him playing, and I
watched every stream.
This is what I want to play. I want to do this. So yeah, I'm doing the same 1975 list. 2 Rhinos, a 5-man Berserker, 10-man Berserker, Karn, Master Executions, Angron, Lord Avo, Juggerlord. What is it? 1x6 Exalted, 1x3 Exalted, 1x3 8-bound. Boom, baby. You have a 1,975 list. And if anything goes up, hopefully it's just like 25 points of Angron, and then boom, you're set. You're good.
So I think that's a potentially good segue.
Perfect.
So the idea of things getting up. So right now, we're talking about how we've been pushed into really wanting to try out and play these other armies, which, as we mentioned at the start, it's really good once you get to the point where you're comfortable with your one army to genuinely play other ones, to get those reps in, especially because right now, World Leaders are horrifying into Votann.
Yes.
If they get the jump on you and they get to punch you, that's kind of it.
Yes.
You're not going to have the opportunity. If you're running land forts, Angron is just going to kill them. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. He's just going to tear them apart. That's it. If 8-bound get into your Hearthguard,
well, even transports, they have a +1 to wound strat against vehicles.
Yep, they're very good. So, you want to make sure you differentiate what you're playing eventually anyway. So just keep that in mind. But we're looking into that. We're playing these more aggressive armies. We're talking about the idea that points are changing. But we have a data slate coming up.
Yes.
Right? Over the next few weeks that could change things up for the meta as a whole.
Yes.
Has there been anything on your end that you've either seen some potential whispers in the warp about, or that you're kind of looking for any kind of, changes that you'd personally like to see?
Well, yes. I am worried since Votann is, doing top, third best army.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
The thing that sucks about Votann, and me and Danny just had a hilariously long argument in the Stat Check Votann Discord about this, is Votann data sheets are not good. And that is okay. I'm not sad about it. Well, I'm sad because I want to play with cool, I want to have all the other cool shit other armies do. But they're winning really well. And the reason they're winning really well is because they're so fucking cheap. Everything is so cheap. That does not mean that I can't be annoyed that the data sheets are whack. And that was the kind of whole conversation. We're being told we're being crybabies, even though our army is at 56% win rate. But it's like, yes, they're doing really well, but they're just cheap. They're cheap. Unfortunately, because Games Workshop was lazy with the data sheets. They had to fix that by making everything cheap, and that's why they're doing well. I'm worried that we're going to go in the opposite direction and become more expensive again.
See, that's one of my concerns with Votan as well, is that
Yes.
we're going to end up in a situation where it's like, okay, hey, we overcorrected a little too much.
Yeah.
We're not going to improve the rules at all, but also you can't take 3x3 bikes anymore. Have fun.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well,
I
man,
think
that's
what's going to happen, my best case scenario is that they just up points a little bit here and there, not like insanely drastic, and all I have to do is lose like a Sagittar or something. That is like my best case scenario. I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna be that good. What I assume in my head, what I feel like is gonna happen, they're gonna tone down Ruthless Efficiency, the one where we give out 4, or we give 2 tokens out to 4 units. I bet you they'll cut that in half. Maybe it's 2 units. Best case scenario, they keep it. Next best is that it goes to 3. I think if you do that only to 2 units, that sucks. Because the whole other way we get tokens the fastest is our units dying. So if they up points again, we're gonna have less units and we're gonna have less tokens out via Ruthless
They
Efficiency.
have to do one or the other. If they do all of it at once, it's too much. You're going to end up with a Custodes situation
Yes.
again. I will echo the point until someone at GW hears me, but I think you change it back to how it originally was, where you pick 1 unit. But for the love of everything, just allow calls to apply tokens without line of sight.
Line of sight
If
or
you
multiple in a command phase.
Yeah, if they can just apply them without line of sight, that means that calls and deep strike can apply them,
Yeah.
and you end up with the same amount of tokens over the course of the game.
Yeah. Without as much ease
instead
of getting CP.
instead of immediately having 4.
Yeah.
4 units fully blasted. It forces you to choose targets and gives you the same result, and also reinforces the idea of taking calls for people that otherwise might not have taken them.
Dude, there's a lot of people that
also-
aren't taking them.
Yeah, I'm also of the opinion that, make Sagittars more expensive. They should be more expensive.
They probably should
But
be
you
like
know what?
115 or something.
Yeah, that's fine. 110, anywhere between 110 and 120, probably fair.
Yeah.
But you got to drop Warriors. Warriors have to go down.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people are going to say that doesn't really end up doing anything. No, but it does. Because in a lot of instances, you're still not putting Warriors in the Sagittars. You're cheating and finding other ways to do
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
It's incentivizing better play. And also, if Warriors get cheaper, that also maybe gives people a reason to run things like land forts with Warriors in them, which you
Yeah.
don't see almost at all right
Ever.
now. So
Ever.
it's you have to hit both ends. I'm hoping they do it. I'm kind of in a
terrified.
situation where I'm worried they're going to do too much, just because that's historically what they do. But we'll see. In general,
see.
I'm really hopeful. I'm hoping we continue to see some adjustments to other armies right now. Eldar seems to have settled down a little bit, but
Little bit.
could probably take a
Still
little bit
really
of
good.
kneecapping. Yep.
So really
So
good.
I mean, my other main army I've talked about before is Chaos Knights. Chaos Knights still just does well through efficiency, but God, the rules kind of don't ever matter.
Yeah.
Which sucks. So that's going to need a codex too. But I couldn't remember, and I feel like they've talked about it before. But I think at the beginning of the edition they made a comment about how they were going to do quarterly points updates, and they would do rules updates like once or twice a year. So I actually wonder if we might see some rules updates.
I think we're gonna see
with-
both.
Yeah.
I think because they technically just did the last data slate they did had rules,
Sure.
and like I think 1 or 2 things had points. It wasn't like as much, but I do think in this month, which people are thinking that's gonna happen end of the month for some reason. I don't know why. They don't give a shit about LVO, so it has nothing to do with LVO. I think we're gonna see both a few rules things here and there. I think it's gonna be more points, less rules than the other way around what we just had recently, where it was more
Okay.
rules, less
Yeah,
points. That's what I bet you will
I can
see.
see that. I think it'll probably be post LVO. I think we'll probably see it, or they'll like announce it like the week before or something, and LVO will just be like, "Hey, suck it up. You got to play with the meta."
Yeah,
you're
same
in."
thing with like Arcs of Omen happened. I think like a week or two. It technically happened within the time frame that LVO could have used it, but it was such a huge shakeup. LVO was like, "No, we can't do this. Is too much."
Yeah, it was way too
Yeah,
much.
Arcs of Omen was pretty much another edition of the game pre 10th edition.
Yep.
But yeah,
But
I'm hopeful that it is just like a 5% point increase on a few things,
Mhm.
which wouldn't be end of the world. But if they do make it so that judgment tokens are not 4 units at the beginning of the game and there's a lot of points going up,
Mm-hmm.
that would be harsh because we're going back to having to let our things die. And if we'd have nothing to put on the board to die to give tokens out to, how are we? I'll tell you right now, there is nothing in this world worse than hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s, which would be a lot of the army against a lot of armies right now, and it sucks. It makes berserks damn near useless again because they have strength 9. And a lot of the things that you want to go into probably has a -1 to wound or a higher toughness than strength 9. It makes if you run plasma hearthguard, damn near same thing, pretty much useless in the going against
It's a
higher
very
toughness
rough
targets.
sell for
Yes.
them to design the army around requiring tokens and then not giving you an option to efficiently provide them.
Yep.
So, but I also respect that it's a very difficult balance to figure out what the appropriate way of divvying those tokens out is.
Sure.
And God, I can't think of anything easier than just let him apply 1 or 2 with calls just anywhere on the table.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't know that there's a canoptic spider on the other side of the table.
Right.
I, as the general guiding the army, can
yeah.
see the full table.
Exactly.
I know that it's there.
Yeah.
My call does not know it's there.
Right, exactly. We've
You
told
know,
him. We've told the call.
Yeah, we're not blindly
Yeah.
moving to things. We know that it's there.
I
So
will say, in defense of Games Workshop, one of the few times I'll ever give them a defense here.
Yeah.
Our army is new, and there's so few data sheets that we saw what happened in 9th edition when they made the data sheets good. Since there's so few units, they're too good. And that's the thing is when you have like with Space Marines or Orcs, when you have 3,000 unit options, some will be good, some will be bad because there's the availability to like put some of these things on each unit, right?
Sure.
No unit should have everything, like rates. No unit should have everything. And unfortunately, because of 9th, they went too good with so few units. I think they just went the opposite, too bad on so few of our units. Hopefully that means come our actual codex, when we do get a refresh in the army, we'll be able to have a more like even distribution of good rules to units, right? That is my hope, and that is why I am holding out no matter what this data sheet does, no matter what happens in the coming time up until we get our codex, that with the addition of new units, that will mean that we will be able to, have an even distribution of good rules per model, per unit, That's my hope, at least.
Well, I think we can even expand on that a little bit. Like, obviously, we don't have a ton of units right now. We're waiting for a codex. Anything you're kind of hoping for out of the codex? Any units that you're hoping to see?
Yes. I think if we stay in this trajectory where things need to die to get tokens out, we need cheaper chaff things. We need the damn exaction squad, where the Marines like little doggo dude with the space cops. We need those cheap units.
A 5-man Hernkin scout unit. Give me 5 guys. They're not on bikes. Just or just pioneers, right? A 5-man pioneer
a cog unit, like a chaff cog unit. Yes,
yep, that's fine. There's no reason why a cog unit shouldn't exist.
Truly.
It's just send it. If Space Wolves can have cyber wolves that are like a 1-man thing of wolves, why can't I have 2 cogs?
Yes, agreed. I want a more normalized mech unit that isn't a transport that does damage. It's really cool that our Land Fortress is cool, but it is still.
Now, by that, do you mean a tank or do you mean a dreadnought?
Either. I don't care which one it is. Either one. I don't want to care about either it being a dedicated transport or have bad transport rules like the Hecaton Land Fortress. Either give me a standalone tank or some kind of mech dread, whatever that is.
You know what I'd love to see?
Play it.
Give me a Votan equivalent to like a Killacan style unit.
Yes, exactly.
Like 3 to 6 guys.
Yes.
They're just a big chunky unit of mechs that run around together.
Yes.
And let them be kitted out either for ranged or for melee or for both. And then give me a big engineer, like a big mech that can be attached to them.
Exactly.
That'd be sick.
Yes. I want to see a berserk character that can attach to them, that gives them something like reroll charges or maybe +1 to their feel no pain or whatever.
I want him to have two fists. I want just
Yes.
two big, giant golden fists,
Yes.
and I want
Yes.
to punch everything to death.
Yes, exactly. I would love to see a character like kind of like a more like Fire Slayer esque character that like
Yep.
really buffs the berserks because I use 2x5. I'm using
Sure.
them way more for utility than I am for killing things. Hilariously
Sure.
enough, I'm using them to scare people. Really, I
Yeah.
actually explained this to someone yesterday. I'm like I'll put them somewhere. I'll hide them. Be like, yeah, they fight on death. They have this. They have that. You shouldn't charge into them. And then they're like, oh, they have all that stuff. Maybe I shouldn't charge. I'm like, yeah, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
mean, if
you
it
would you
works, it
would
works.
smoke them, but don't do it.
I think we're
And
gonna see a plane. I don't want it,
almost
but
some kind of
it's in all
copter.
the art.
Yeah, yeah,
It's in all the art. It's gonna happen.
yeah. And then
If we have
also
like a little gyrocopter unit,
that'd be
like the
sick.
little orc planes, that'd be
Yeah, that'd be
fine.
sick.
Don't make it an actual plane, and I'm happy, but it's gonna be
Yeah.
a plane. But what was the other one?
And then obviously the jetpack dudes. We're gonna see some kind of jetpack warriors. Like it's
Yep.
like they wouldn't have put that in the kill team without them being a unit
Yep.
at some point. It's not
Yeah.
possible. So I bet
Yeah,
you will.
fair.
So I feel like those at least, and then we'll probably see like another couple characters here and there, and then yeah, honestly, like some kind of scout, sniper, infiltrator unit would be
Yep.
super cool. And but otherwise, like I just want, yeah, I want a more even distribution of like things to have. I don't want to have
Sure.
to rely on taking something, which we have to do. We have to rely on the so few units we have, which makes list building kind of funny sometimes because you're either leaning into like triple hecaton or like 20.
I would
You know,
I would also in Codex season, I would love to see a return to the option of someone getting a token if they completed an action.
oh my god,
So
dude, yes,
someone
truly,
if someone did something somewhere, let me have the option to put a token
yeah,
on them again because that
agreed.
was so good.
Yeah. Or like if they're really leaning into the whole like wronging us to give out judgment or like to get grudges happening, like make it, yeah, like if your opponent controls more objectives in no man's land than you, pick a unit controlling an objective and they get a token. Something like that. Like even if it's not, yeah, like if that's what they're leaning on, something like that I think works. And I really do think they should bring back the third token and make it something like reroll hits or something. Like we have, obviously we have no reroll mechanics in any fashion. When you're playing like again, like when looking at like the playing its Canoptic Court with their
Sure.
immortal Teslas with sustain hits 2 and free dev wounds, they're
Yep.
having reroll all ones if they're not in their power matrix. They have full hit rerolls if they are. Power matrix, it's like Shadow the Warp stuff. If you control more objectives, that's the power matrix, blah, blah, blah. So they have full hit rerolls almost all the time on sustain 2, dev wound, million shot, immortal
Really
Tesla.
does sound like the beginning of our first couple whispers of power creep, doesn't it?
Dude, 100%. I bet you the next two RTTs I have between 4 and 5 Necrons players each.
Sure.
20 man RTTs. That's a quarter pretty much of the player base will be playing Canoptic Necrons.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So some kind of reroll mechanic in some way. I at least think like maybe not even give us captain style things, but I really do feel like at the very least Uthar should be giving out rerolls in some manner. If
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I just
That'd be
want
cool.
distribution of balance in the army, which
Yeah.
doesn't feel like there is much. But again,
It's
there's
one of
5
those-
units. Like
Yeah, it's one of those things where we have 13 total units right now. It's all going to come with time. Gene Stealer Cult felt the exact same pains where they had
Yeah.
half an army that came out, then you had to wait 2 years and get the other half.
yes.
I think all things considered, Votan has had a more fruitful and more efficient launch of things with how well it's gone. So I think there's a lot of things to be thankful for. I think there's even more things that are going to continue to go well over time. I think they're in a good spot.
That's the thing is the game is like even though there is some funniness with like the armies that are doing well right now, the game still is in a pretty good state all around. Way
Yep,
better than when it first started, like without a doubt. I don't think no one will say that's not the case.
Yep. And I think even at the start, there were things that were wildly overpowered, right? So like Eldar was painful for everyone, but realistically, that wasn't impacting everyone at an
No.
event. Most armies, really great. 10th has been really, really good.
I think so.
I'm
I think
really-
yeah. I think I'm excited to see where things keep going. I'm excited. I'm
Yes.
really hoping the data slate is not too harsh one way or the other. I really
Yep.
do, but I I'm excited, dude. I love Warhammer. I love
Yeah.
playing my little, as Mallory will say, my partner. I love playing my little plastic dolls.
Dude, I love my dolls. I love my
I love my
dollies.
dolls, dude.
Here for it. All right. I think with that, folks, we may have hit what we're looking to talk about today. I think in our next session, we'll hopefully have some more information either on how some of our events went or how some of that data slate is starting to look, what we're looking to do. Maybe we're even going to have some LVO updates from Mr. Pastrami over here. But in general, I want to hammer it
Maybe.
in. I think we have a lot to be excited about now and
Yes.
even more to be excited about right over the horizon.
One last thing. If you're going to LVO and you've listened to this podcast beforehand, please join the Discord. Hit me up.
Nice.
I'm trying to like arrange a Votan like drink night at LVO.
Nice.
So if you're going, you're in the Discord or not, there will be a link to Discord in the description of the podcast. Please hit me up. I'm gonna get everyone so mad. I'm gonna do an everyone ping Friday night at LVO to come meet up at the
Yes.
bar in the Rio. So yes, hit me up. Let's hang out. Let's drink to playing a very fun army and playing a very fun game.
Love to see it.
Hell yeah. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we love y'all. We'll check you soon.
Bye bye.